Hey everyone, I just realized I need to check my audio settings. Okay, well, there. Okay, I think it's working right. Okay, cool. All right. Hey everyone. We are here for our live stream tonight. It's called How to Listen to Your Psychic Hunches and Act on Them. Let me know if you can hear me, and let me give you a little taste of what we're going to do today as people are hopping on live. If you're watching the replay, be sure to say hi in the chat as well, because I would love to know that you are here and to connect with you. All right, so I'm starting to see a few people hopping on live, so do let me know if you can hear me okay. I just was scrambling to switch to a different audio, a microphone. So I just want to check that before I go any further. And I'd love to know too, where are you in the world and how are you today? So let me just put in the chat too. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, cool. Thanks, Anne. Good to know. I just always get a little bit paranoid, and I was switching mics hurriedly at the beginning. So great to have you here. I thought I would do an evening live for those that weren't able to make it on a Friday afternoon. And this is an important topic because you don't need to do anything. But if you choose to navigate your life from intuition, if you want to start awakening that psychic part of you, whether you want to, some people don't resonate with the word psychic, that's perfectly fine, right? The sensitivity, the intuition, that soul wisdom. This, I think, is a really valuable thing to do. Hey, Anne says she's here from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome. And I'm in Richmond, Virginia, in case you guys didn't know. I just dropped my son off at soccer practice and I scrambled home to do this. So glad to have you guys here at a different time of day. So we have two parts to our nature. We have the intellectual, logical thinking, analyzing, dissecting part of us, the organizing part. And then the other part of our nature is what I would call the feeling nature, or you could also call it your intuition, right? That sensitivity. When I say sensitivity, I don't mean emotional. I mean your awareness, your tune in, because you are energy. And as energy, you can sense things. And you have like this radar system of energy. One of the first consultations that I do for people, which is called the Gifts and Guidance Orientation Profile, and I'm certified in that through the Wayshowers College. In that consultation, a person actually learns like what percentage of spiritual sensitivity are you utilizing? So you can imagine if somebody has a lower percentage, right? So maybe they're using 70% of their spiritual sensitivity. That person just doesn't have as much awareness. They're more in their head. They're more grounded in the practical. And I'm not saying that's bad, right? It's not wrong. But what it is that it's not utilizing all the power that you have if you're just operating from your intellect, right? A person that maybe has, higher spiritual sensitivity, you are picking things up that maybe you don't even have a logical explanation for yet, right? So that's kind of how it works. And then the only reason why we haven't developed our intuition as much is because we weren't raised to do that, right? We're kind of programmed from a young age to be more intellectual, to be more logical. I know when I was little, if I had psychic experiences and I would tell my parents, they would tell me, no, that's not real. That's just your imagination. But it certainly felt real to me when I was 3 years old, right? It was an experience that I was having. So I'm curious, those of you that are here, and even if you're watching the replay, please let me know as well. Did you have very mystical, spiritual experiences when you were very little. It was really fun when he's 11 now, and I love having an 11-year-old, but when he was about between 3 to 5, there's that magic window of when kids are able to communicate enough to tell us what they're experiencing, but they're not old enough to have sort of let the logic kind of take over. And so there was some really cool things that my son would say when he was around that age. He told me about past lives. He could see angels. He could see energy. He could feel energy, right? And sometimes he would ask me to cleanse him if he wasn't feeling well. So we are all that way, right? We are all tuned in. So I'd love to do an experience right now where you can feel that. So go ahead and just rub the palms of your hands together. And bring your hands a couple of inches apart. And just even close your eyes if you would like to. Just notice what you can feel between your hands. And then gradually bring your hands further and further apart. And just notice what you can feel. And then if you start to lose it, you can bring your hands in close again. And notice how it feels now. And if you kind of move your hands a little, you probably feel that energy. So what does it feel like? I'd love to know. Let me know in the chat. What can you feel between your hands? There's no right or wrong answer. But as you name that experience, this is why being in a group situation and practicing this together is so powerful. Because as you have the chance to actually share, oh, I felt this, that's how you develop that muscle of trust. And you start to have the awareness of what your intuition and your spiritual experiences are like. Right? If you just keep it to yourself all the time, you actually won't be as trusting in your intuition, in my opinion. It's been my experience. All right, so let me know, how did it feel between your hands? Everybody's shy. Please share. And if you just hopped on, I'd love to know your name, where you are in the world, etc. Okay, well, hopefully what you could feel between your hands was, some kind of sensation. For me right now, it just feels like a pulling. Sometimes it feels very warm. Sometimes I can feel like a pins and needles kind of a feeling. But today I wasn't really feeling that. I was just feeling that kind of pulling sensation, almost like a magnet, right? And it's like there's a solidness. It's not just air, If you have somebody in your household or wherever you are right now that's willing to do it with you, you can actually do this with a partner too. So one person will put their hands below, the other above them, and just you feel what you can feel between your partner's hands, which is really interesting. Hey, surprise giraffe. All right, I like that name. But your actual name is Judy. Hey there, from Ohio. Glad you're here, sweetheart. Okay, so as we start to have more and more of these experiences, that is how you begin to access your intuition. We don't do it from the mind. If you just hopped on, I shared at the beginning that we have two parts to our nature: our intellect, our thinking mind, and our intuition, our feeling part. And if we try to do intuition from our head, it's just not, we just can't access it that way. That's not what it is. But your mind will want to interfere. And sometimes our mind also wants to start talking us out of it. Right? Well, that's not real. You just made it up. Just like our parents did to us when we were little, or maybe somebody else in your early years was saying those things to you, denying you. Right? So this is now reawakening really what you've always had inside, but you just now need to access it. And again, the best way to do that, and maybe even the only way to really do that, is by practice and experience, right? So that's why I'm offering a course very soon called Psychic Gifts Expansion. And we're going to meet together every week live over 5 weeks. And we're going to practice. We're going to develop all 4 of your spiritual abilities. And I'm going to tell you what those are in a moment. So you will be, getting intuitive impressions. You will be seeing auras. You will be experiencing psychometry, which is holding an object in your hand and picking up impressions from it. The more you do those things and practice those things, the more you're going to develop that trust. I created this course about a year ago because people have been asking me for years, when I would do a private session for them, telling them about their intuitive gifts, because we have strengths in different areas. And people would ask me in that session, okay, well, how do I develop these gifts? And I would just say, well, you have to practice. But I wasn't, providing them a great means to practice. So that's why we're now doing this. By the way, this is just very much getting sidetracked, but today, February 24th, is the 1-year anniversary of when I broke my ankle last year. And that was a major sort of transition, learning, challenging experience in my life. So I think that's kind of interesting. The other day that's in my mind is the day that I had the surgery, which was February 28th. And it was around this time when I started creating the course. And the interesting thing too is I think since that injury happened and I really had to just slow down, I wasn't able to put weight on my foot for 6 weeks. And then it was a couple months after that until I really was able to walk again. So during that time when I had to slow down, I couldn't drive for quite some time either. I was able to really focus on what are the tools that people really need, right? Sometimes life slows you down for a reason. So I see some people saying hi as well. So lost my train of thought, that's okay. So Agata, I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. She says, greetings from Venezuela. Thanks for sharing your knowledge with us. Oh, you're so welcome, sweetie. And Lynn, says, hi, Melissa. Hi, Lynn. I'm so glad to see you. Lynn was one of the people in my Angels course that I just offered as well. And she's from the San Francisco Bay Area. Awesome. Yeah. So it's kind of cool that now, about a year later, I really sense that the timing was to offer this live again. So I have created an online course as well that you can do on your own, and everybody that joins Psychic Gifts Expansion at this time will have that online course. So anytime you want to refer to that and practice, as long as the course exists, you have lifetime access, then you'll have that. But the real value is going to be meeting together in these live classes, and we're going to schedule them at a time when almost everybody, hopefully everybody, can attend, because when you are in that place of community, right, you get the positive energy from everybody there. It helps to heighten your intuition. Plus, you're going to get my mentoring. I've been sharing this information in different ways for more than 20 years. So I've heard all of those questions that people ask, and I know how to guide you in this journey. And, it's something that might seem like not that important, but to me, it's really essential. Because if you want to really be aligned in your life purpose, to be able to create and manifest the things in your life that you want, whether it be that career that you love, or the relationships, or a sense of fulfillment with what you're doing, having fun, having those experiences. For me, travel is like my number one, it's not my number one priority in life, but it's very high up there, because I know that when I travel, I just love it. It's like it raises my vibration. But for you, it might be something different. But when you're when you're really developed in your intuition, you can navigate life from that place of true feelings and knowing what's right for you. Nobody can tell you what's right for you apart from you and your spirit guides, right? They will help you for sure. But when you're in touch with your own feelings and intuition, things start to become clearer. I hope I'm making sense there. Let me know if that's resonating. And I'd love to know too, have you guys had experiences where your intuition guided you to something? I would love to hear those. Or what kind of psychic experiences are you having? I was chatting with a new friend last week, and she told me, she said, Melissa, your work is so valuable. And she started to tell me this story about a few years ago, she really honed her intuition so she could trust it. And her story was that she met a man from Brazil. I don't know if she met him online but she met a guy from Brazil. But at the time, he couldn't speak any English and she couldn't speak any Portuguese. So basically they couldn't really communicate. But her intuition just had this really strong pull. And everybody around her was telling her she was crazy, right? Like her friends were like, okay, you need to stop this craziness and date somebody in your hometown. But she really was able to tap in and say, you know what? I respect your opinion, but she was able to really recognize what her intuition was guiding her to do. And she acted on the faith. She moved to Brazil, and they've now been happily married for 10 years. So because she was able to trust her intuition rather than her logic, right? Her logic was more fear-based, going, oh my gosh, this is crazy. You don't even know this person, right? But her intuition was guiding her to the right thing. Hey, Nellie, driving home from Alexandria and also from Venezuela. Love that. Okay, so we all have impressions and hunches. You can pick them up with 4 different avenues. So everybody has all 4, and some people call them the 4 clairs, right? Same thing. But I call them intuition, vision, prophecy, and feeling. So intuition or clairaudience is when you're hearing, and it's not a physical thing, right? It's that inner voice. So in your mind, you might hear words, music, phrases, even your name called and there's no one there. Anybody had that kind of experience? Vision or clairvoyance is when you see pictures, images, symbols, and they're in that inner vision. It's sort of like a movie screen going on in your mind. And then we have prophecy, or some people call it claircognizance. So that one is an inner knowing. It's a real sense of energy. It's also premonitions and sense of the future. And that gift kind of can also go into a trance or just a semi-trance where you get kind of sleepy, you're daydreaming, you're zoning out, you're picking up energy that way. And then the gift of feeling or clairsentience is when you're getting the gut feelings, even physical touch, right? You touch and you feel energy that way, and you can pick up impressions from it. So each of us has a primary gift as well. And I do a private session where you can learn that, which one yours is. But we have all 4 regardless, right? Just one of them is more prominent. And it's really good to start recognizing and paying attention to those hunches. Because one of the most common questions I get asked is like, how can I tell the difference between my imagination, my thoughts, and what's my intuition, right? Or what's fear and what's truth? So it does take practice, but as you practice and experience more, you'll start to be more conscious and more present to that voice of your intuition, or the images of your intuition, or the feelings of your intuition, right? And the best way I can describe it is there's a lightness to it. When you're in your mind, it's more heavy, not in a bad way, but it's a different vibration. It's more that planet Earth energy, right? And when you're in your intuition, there's a lightness. It just pops in your mind. It's the aha moment. It's the joy. It's the moment of clarity. Hi, Linda. She says, oh, this is cool. I listened to my intuition to be a part of Activated Empath Healers Academy. I'm 2 weeks into this amazing group of beautiful souls. Yay. I'm so glad that you listened to your intuition. Yeah, that is something that has been really helpful to me is if an opportunity presents itself, I say, oh my gosh, am I going to invest my time and my finances into this? Sometimes that's scary. I don't know if it's going to be worthwhile or if it's really going to pay off or it's going to be worth my time. And so the cool thing is that when you can tap into your intuition and also the support of your spirit guides, I feel like I don't ever really make a bad decision in that area. I have in the past, but not for the past few years because I don't rush my decisions actually. And that's just an interesting thing to consider too. But I'll pause on that for a sec. But I don't rush my decisions. I just really feel it out almost. And what is that high vibration? And then the opposite sometimes too, right? There's a group that I've been a part of and it's continuing next week. And there's a part of me that wants to keep going. And I know it's really helpful to me. And I have a little bit of FOMO, the fear of missing out. But I can feel that in this timing, it's not in alignment, right? So how helpful would that be to you to not kind of make those mistakes where you sign up for something and go on and regret it, right? Or you miss out on something that you could have really benefited from. I think it's really important in those situations to not think about at first anyway, don't think about the logical part, right? Don't think about the how. Think about or tune into intuitively, what is this a part of my purpose? And is this a high vibration for me? And is this aligned, right? Because that's the most important thing. Then you can figure out the other practical parts of it. And it's amazing how things will sort of align themselves when it's right for you too. If anyone else has any experiences of how their intuition has helped them, please share. So those are the 4 clairs, as some people call them, the spiritual gifts. And in Psychic Gifts Expansion, we are going to practice each one. So the first week is going to be opening your energy sensitivity. And then we're going to go each week, do the 4 gifts. And I'll put the link to the sign up page in the chat here, because I'd love you to go and watch the videos of the last live group that make sure you spell it right, Melissa. Hopefully that's right. I'd love you to watch the videos of the last live group that I did last year. So I only do this about once a year. So I hope that you will join while you can. Because what I did was I just took the recording of our last class and I just put it into bite-sized pieces of the people genuinely just sharing at the end of the classes how they had benefited from being a part of the group. And over again, people were just saying, wow, I didn't realize how intuitive I really was. I've developed those gifts. I'm aware of them now and I can trust them, right? So think about how would that be for you to have that sense of groundedness and confidence in your spiritual abilities. I think it's so valuable. Linda shared, it's helping me to come out of my comfort zone, showing myself online. Yeah, it's amazing too how when we're drawn to these opportunities that there can be some kind of growth, the spiritual growth that comes from it. And a lot of times that's actually what draws things to us. Lynn said, I followed my intuition in regards to taking your courses, just felt connected to your teachings. Yeah, I love that, Lynn. Some of my favorite clients have been when people show up and they say, I really don't know why I hired you. I just knew I had to, like my intuition told me to. And I'm like, great, you're in the right place, So we need to have a balance, right? We need to have the logic and we need to have the feelings, the intuition. And some people are actually too much in the feelings and not enough in the intellect. I know 1 or 2 people who are like that in my life. But the majority of the people that I know, and I think the majority of probably you and people around, have that tendency to be too much in the intellect and not enough in the feelings. And I know for me that was partly because of, things that happened in my upbringing. I wasn't really encouraged to share my feelings. It wasn't validated, right? And, my parents were doing the best they knew how. They didn't know any different. So I'm not upset about that. But it is just good to acknowledge, right? You might relate to that in your younger years, you sort of just had to do what everyone else told you to. You weren't given the space to really know yourself and what you desire and what your preferences are and things like that. So this can be a great healing for you to awaken that part of yourself so that you can really create the life that you desire, and then and help others around you too. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about today is discernment. You guys are all more psychic than you realize. And you are probably picking things up from the environment, from people around you, right? There's a lot of interesting energy going on in our environment and the world at large, but also there's also the things closer to home for you that you might be picking up on. And it's really important to start developing discernment of energy. Because, sorry, I forgot that I can show your comments on the screen. I'm going to do that from now on. I was just reading them. Yeah, discernment of energy is because some people talk about psychic protection. Like, oh my God, I'm feeling all this energy. I got to protect myself from it. And if you've been thinking that, it's understandable. That's what some people are teaching out there. But I'm going to suggest to you, rather than thinking about protecting, you want to discern. So how do we discern? It's like, what am I feeling? Where is it coming from? Who is it? So you start to recognize what it is. First of all, you have to accept how psychic you are, that you're picking all this stuff up. And then it becomes a practice of discerning. I even do this with opportunities, right? So if an opportunity crosses my path, like a colleague of mine recently asked if I wanted to run a retreat with her. We've worked together in that capacity in the past. And when I took the time to tune into it, the energy just felt a little off. And again, I'm not judging her or the situation or anything, but it's what's true, right? So have you guys ever had the experience where something just doesn't quite feel right and you can't put your finger on why, but something feels off? It's really important to trust that. And when you get that feeling, do your best to discern what it is, who it is, why it is. You may not have all those answers right away. You might get it from your angels, and you might get it from just doing a little bit more research, asking more questions, right? Or just your own intuitive awareness comes to you. Now, of course, the opposite can be true too. Something feels really, really aligned. And you still might have a little bit of fear coming in, but you can start to discern, okay, that's just fear of the unknown, or, any other little fears that are popping up, but truly this feels in alignment, right? So you learn to start making your decisions from how discerning the energy. This is a conversation that not many people are having. So if you feel like it's going over your head a little bit, don't worry too much. Really, again, the key is that get that practice. So everybody that's in Psychic Gifts Expansion, we're going to start looking at how can you discern energy in your life to navigate your decisions and to be in the right place at the right time. It's so, so valuable. But most of us are doing things from logic or fear, right? Even worse. So I hope that's inspiring to you guys today. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. So the exciting announcement, we're going to be meeting 5 weeks. Excuse me, I need a sip of water. It's got that little constriction. It won't go away. We're going to meet for 5 weeks at the beginning of March. So that's next week, because February is a short month, right? And this will be the only time this year that I take a group through it live. And that's really going to be so helpful to you. You'll also get all the recordings of that. And you will get the self-study course as a bonus. So normally the online course alone is $199, but right now you're going to get both. You're going to get the live class and the self-study, which I'm kind of encouraging people just to save the online course for later, but you're going to get that and you can utilize it as you would like to. You're going to get both of those for $149. So really, it's a $400 value for only $149. And there is a payment plan available too. So it's really, really reasonable. The sale, though, the $50 savings ends tomorrow night. Okay, so Tuesday, February 25th at midnight Eastern time. After that, the $50 savings is going to disappear. Yeah, Linda in the UK. So most likely, so what I'm doing as far as the time. So there we go. I just want to use this cool thing. What time are your live classes? Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm surveying people as soon as they sign up. What time of day will be best for you out of 3 different choices? But most likely, it could be quite likely that it will be at 4 p.m. Eastern, which would be 9 p.m. in the UK, or 1 p.m. Eastern would be 6 p.m. for you in the UK. So those are the times it will most likely be. And if we get a large enough group, I will do it at 2 different times as well. So and then we can accommodate even more people. So hopefully that's good for you, Linda. Oh, and it'll be on Tuesdays, the classes. Okay, so the place to go to learn more is communicatewithangels.com/psychic gifts expansion. I put that link in the comments if you just want to click on it. And let me know if you guys have any other questions or anything you want to share today, as I'm going to start wrapping up. I'm really, really excited. We have some amazing people who've already registered for the group. And that's one of the highlights for me, is really connecting with like-minded people. Kenny is here from Wales, and I would not attempt to pronounce that lovely Welsh that you put in there, but I love it. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here, Kenny. Nice to see you, or to not really see you, but that you're here. I went to Wales. It was a long time ago now. It makes me feel old. I think it was like 2007. But my younger sisters used to live in London, and so one Christmas, they rented a house in Wales. And we went around different castles and pubs, and it was a really fun time. I would love to go back. My boyfriend wants to go somewhere in Wales, I forget. But any other questions, you guys? And if not, I'm going to sign off for today. And thank you so much for being here. If you're watching the replay on Facebook or on YouTube, just put your comment in the chat. Would love to see you. Any questions, let me know. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.